Good morning, folks. It is Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021, and here we go again. Sorry I haven't been around for the last couple of days, but trying to get a few things done, get some studying done, etc., etc. And had spent some time trying to figure out what the next little conversation was going to be about. One thing I've gotten into here recently more than before is desktop Linux distributions. Just trying to figure out what's best for any clients that want to move forward with Linux as opposed to Windows or Mac OS. Usually the more technical end clients, to be sure, but it's actually starting to gain a little more interest, at least with the folks that I deal with, just on the normal desktop. Here's my computer. I don't want to spend this much money on Windows. I don't want to deal with all the Windows updates. I don't want to deal with Windows this or Windows that, or I don't want to spend all the money to get a Mac laptop, etc., etc. And of course, the free versions of the Linux distributions are appealing to people, especially if they have older hardware and just want to slap a new OS on it. So I've kind of been going around trying to figure out what was the best one of those. The ones that I've looked at so far are going to be, of course, Red Hat, the old CentOS, the replacement for CentOS, which is going to be Rocky. Having a little issue getting that thing installed, or at least getting the hardware to get it installed on, because it's not going to work on a single board, so it's not like I can slap it on a Raspberry Pi or something along those lines. I've got a couple of old laptops that I'm going to go ahead and install it on, and then get a really good idea of that. I've also looked at, and I'm checking my list here, of course, Raspberry Pi OS, both full and light. I joined the Red Hat developers group, so I've got a good licensed copy of Red Hat Enterprise. Not so much for the desktop, of course, but just kind of the back end server, and kind of compare it to my licensed version of Windows Server 2019. I've got Farron. I've looked at several Solus versions, but I tend to prefer Solus Plasma and Nitrous. And some of the other ones are a little more common, and there are a million videos about those, so you can take a look at those at any point that you want to. Up to now, kind of my favorite, and it really depends on what you want to use it for. For simplicity, folks that just aren't into programming, you're not interested in doing any Python development, that kind of thing. You just want to use it as a desktop operating system. I actually like Twister OS. It's not trying or pretending to be anything but a Windows replacement. It's familiar, it's easy to use, it's easy to bring stuff into. So if you're just using or just looking for something to use at home or your small office, that would be the one I would prefer. I would tend to avoid the Solus versions if you are looking from that perspective. But if you're a little more advanced and want to do some programming or do some projects, then the Solus versions are fine, depending on what desktop you want to use. The Red Hat versions, the Ubuntu versions, etc., etc. Once again, plenty of documentation on those. What I suggest is kind of doing what I did, whether you do it yourself or have your IT person, preferably Jester IT Consulting. Is just get a machine, get the free version of VMware or another hypervisor, slap a bunch of virtuals up, run them, play with them for a few days, see which one you like, and then that's the one you deploy. I'm actually going to get into Rocky a lot more in the next couple of days, and I'll have a cast that's specific to that one, because just looking at it, I really do like it, and I'll probably end up comparing that one to Twister. But I just wanted to let everybody know that that's kind of the project we're working on. That's what we're doing for right now. As usual, any other suggestions that you may have, please drop them in the comments. And have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.